Hi guys, going to open another one of these Bann packs today. So this one is a fiery brown wildfly. So let's see what we've got. All our materials are in little individual packets here. So we have a copper olive set of cock hackles. That is for the front hackle on our fly. We have some hooks, so we have a size 12 here. This is a sort of standard down-eyed wet fly hook. So we'll put one of those into our vise. We have some opal gold tinsel here for our rib. We have some bronze mallard, and that's for our wing on our fly. We have some very brown dubbing here for the body. We have a Bann rich fury brown. These are that's the body hackle. Like a fiery brown saddle type hackle. And we have some hot orange tippet. So this is golden pheasant tippet, and that's what we're going to use for the tail. It's been dyed to make it a bit more flashy and attractive, shall we say. So first thing first, we're going to attach our tying thread. So I'm going to use a black tying thread for this one. You see, I hold the tag end sort of up at an angle, so then whenever I place a wrap, it sort of runs down along it and helps to give you this, say, more controlled body layer. So first thing is our tail, so we're going to take a bit of this tippet. So if we take a feather out of there, you can strip bits off it, but what I find the handiest way with tippet is this. So if you take the center, and you can use that center bit to tie a fly as well, but I'm going to show you if I wasn't using that on its own. What I'd do is I'd nip that out, take a portion of this with the center V nipped out, equal bit on either side if you can, and stroke them together. What I'll do is I'll tie a loose wrap or two across the stalk, and then if I just take this and pull it forward, I can pull it to whatever length suits me. Now I like to see the second bar in up there, so I'm going to go for this slightly longer tail, and then I'll hold this up and trim it off. So next what we need is our rib, so the gold oval tinsel. Take a length of that and tie it in underneath the shank, and then bind that down until I get back to where my tail tie-in was. Next we want to dub on some of our fiery brown dubbing. So I'm going to take my wax here. I'm going to put a run of that onto my wax, or of wax onto my thread. Threads are waxed, but it's not enough generally to make dubbings and that stick to it, so just that little bit of extra wax there helps the occasion. A little pinch of my dubbing. What I'm doing is I'm sort of feathering it out along my tie-in thread there for a length of 2 to 3 inches, and then I start to spin it. So I'm spinning it across between that, then I catch it without letting it unravel and go again. So I'll end up with this sort of dubbing rope. Once I put a turn or so on, that catches a couple of fibres and allows me to tighten it up. And then I'm just going to come forward, making an even body. Now, I'm actually stopping quite a bit in front of the head here because this fly has a head hackle that we need to fit in. So I'm going to need this room here at the front, and you can see I've got maybe about 3-4 mil. So now we're going to put on our body hackle. So we're going to palmer one of these fiery brown hackles. So if I take one of these, and I'm just going down to where the stalk is that little bit thinner. I'll strip that fluffy bit off, and then I'm going to cut that. So as you can see, I have a little bit left here just to tie in on. So set that up on top of the shank there, and a few turns just to tie it in. So what we're going to do is wrap that back down the body. So I'll put on my hackle pliers, and what I like to do with these is to put on 1 to 2 turns, with the turns going behind the one that went before it, just at the front here. So once I have 1 to 2 turns on, it creates sort of like that full collar, and then I go back ways, and the number of turns is entirely up to yourself as to how bushy or otherwise you want your fly. So I've gone back in about 3 turns there. Then I take my rib and then take that up the body in 4 to 5 turns. What I'm doing is I'm sort of wiggling it through those hackles to stop them from tying or binding any of them down unnaturally. I get to the front, then tie off my dubbing and what I can, or my rib, and then what I can do here is I can either cut that off or I can snap it off. So I'm pulling it against the direction it went in. Now, so what we want to do now is put on our wing, and that is our bronze mallard. You could put on the other hackle and then do it, just depending on the look you're looking for, but we're going to put on the wing first and then the hackle. So I take a bronze mallard feather, strip off the fluffy bits at the bottom. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to straighten this out from the shank and turn it up at 90 degrees to the stalk. And then once I've got that, what I'll do is I'll hold it and I'll pinch it off, leaving the feather behind. Now, you could get 2 feathers, a right and a left, and match them up, but the easiest way here is to roll this. So if you take your slip, fold a little bit over itself, and then take the long bit and fold that over, and then fold it over itself again. What you'll end up here is sort of like multiple layers. This effect here. and that'll allow you to tie an upright wing. So I'm going to set that on either the length of the tail or maybe to somewhere halfway along the tail length. Once I'm happy enough with position, I'll just pinch it between finger and thumb, and I'm going to do a soft loop. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my thread up between my finger and thumb, and then as you can see here it's hanging loose because it's actually caught. I've pinched it. I take that down then on the far side of the eye, and then just up under the eye, and then I have a loop then essentially between my finger and thumb, and what I'll do is I'll pull my bobbin up. That pulls that loop down between finger and thumb and tightens this on. So then I put on a couple of turns just to hold it in position. And then we want to trim off the butt ends of our mallard. So what remains now is to put on the head hackle. So I'm just going to wax my thread a little bit again here. I'm going to pick out one of these copper olive hackles. So what you're probably looking for is one that's a bit bigger than the one that you used to rib the body. And you can tie it on in the same direction as what I did there. So you could just break it off here, tie it in at whatever length, put on a couple of wraps. I'm actually going to double it. So I'm going to fold all of the fibers onto one side of the stem. Now, do not worry if you cannot do that. If you search YouTube, you will find a techniques video on doubling hackles, but if you cannot do that, just tie it in the same way as we tied in the hackle for the body. So this time, because I've doubled it, I'm going to tie it in by its tip. One turn across a little gap on the last bit of stock holds it in position. Fold this back, and another one or two turns will stop that slipping out, and then I want to wrap on basically as many turns as suits the style of fly that you're tying. So that's two. That's a slightly more sparsely tied fly. 3 turns, 4 turns. The more turns, the bushier it is, the more you're getting towards a fly making a little bit of a wake, something like a bob kind of a fly. So a turn through the hackle to hold it in place. I fold that back. And then I wrap. A little bit back over it, making a head. And then I just need to trim off my hackle. Finish off my head. Now, as I said, I whip finish with my hands. If you can't do that, use a tool or whatever you do. And that's our fairy brown wet fly tied. So all that remains then is for me to finish the fly off. Varnish the head. So I'm using a little precision applicator, but use a brush, use a needle, whatever works for you. Okay, so that is our little Fairy Brown wet flay from the Bann Valley monthly flay tang packs. As always, tang packs are available from Bann Valley Flays.